from the following factor. For example, the administration of the university as a public university under the framework of the Act. A second factor is a clear vision, is the administration, the availability of both budgetary and personal resources. The application of technology with the administration of the technique and teaching and learning. The network building Buddhist both nationality and internationality, resulting in the acceptance and collaboration to create educational innovation and organize international conference together, such as the International Buddhist Conference and other international academic seminar like today. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the member of the press, good morning once again. I am Anurag Sakeo, a lecturer from Chulalongkorn University, Chiang Rai campus, Chiang Rai, Thailand, one of the MC and moderator today for the first international online conference on ASEAN perspective and innovation today. We would like to wish you all, and very warm welcome on this conference seminar and conference here in Bangkok, Thailand, organized by ASEAN Study Center, Chulalongkorn Rachavittayalai University, and Bali Tthha Khosa Campus, Nakhon Pathom Province, Thailand, in association with Smaratungga Buddhist College, Indonesia, on the 2nd of February 2022. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, or the professor, the official opening ceremony for today will start shortly. And now may I invite Venerable Pra Ajahn Ashira to be continue on the official and to say something to greet and to give them a warm welcome as our host together before we go into the session of the official ceremony.
Thank you. Ajahn Anurag Sakeo,
yes,
for welcoming all the attendees, the participants this morning. So from my side too, I would like to welcome all the attendees once again on this first International Online Conference on ASEAN Perspective and Innovation, held by ASEAN Studies Center of MCU and Pali Siksa Buddha Khosa campus of MCU, along with the Smaratungga Buddhist Institute of Indonesia. So now we are just waiting for the most venerable Professor Dr. Pratham Vachara Bandit, the rector of MCU. So before we move on to that, I would like to give the short biography of the most venerable sir. So for today's chairperson for this ceremony will be our rector, and Professor Dr. Pratham Vachara Bandit was born in Thai province of Buriram. He obtained his BA in Pali Studies from Sukhothai Thammathirat Open University, his MA in Buddhist Studies from MCU, and PhD in Pali and Buddhist Studies from Banaras Hindu University in India. In 2018, he was appointed the rector of Chulalongkorn Rachavittayalai University, and after serving as the vice rector for academic affairs since 2006, and as a professor and former director of International Buddhist Studies College since 2013. His remarkable academic contributions were Mahayana Buddhism Development and its Essence in Thai edition in 2000, Buddhist Philosophy, Essences and Development in Thai edition, Buddhism and Modern Technology, Tibetan Buddhist culture, Vajrayana's analysis, or Nagarjuna with the contractory of time, existence, and ill existence, introduction to Vinaya Pitaka, philosophy of Madhyamika, search of logics in Tipitaka and Buddhist literature, critics of Aristotle's middle path and Buddhist Majjhima Patipata of Theravada. And apart from his scholarly contribution,
recording in progress,
he also engaged in translation works like development of Buddhist ethics, karma and rebirth, development of thoughts in pattern of ancient Indian basic Buddhist view. And he was also awarded with the Inventor Advantage Award, or in Thai we say Smaratungga, a kind of encouraging Buddhist education in the field of book writing. So a short biography of the Most Venerable is in this way. So, and we also have other keynote speakers and also the welcoming speech, which will be moving along while the program is on. So as we're just waiting for the auspicious time for our rector to arrive in to preside over today's opening ceremony. And for the sessions of presentation, we will be having both the morning and afternoon sessions. And the morning sessions will start around 9:45 to 11:30, which will be the plenary session on ASEAN perspective and innovation. And for today's presentation, we will be having many scholars and presenters from different nations. For this morning session, we will be having Miss Trinh Hoang Hong Hue from Faculty of Economics, University of Economics and Law from Vietnam National University, Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. Venerable Chao Kam Lang Keminda, an abbot of Wat Kung Bao, Kali Shan State, Myanmar. We'll be having Mr. T. Kampon Rot Kummuang, School of Law, Mae Pha Luang, University Chiang Rai, Thailand. Mr. Sonjoy Borua Chaudhary, the College of Religious Studies, Mahidol University, Thailand. Dr. Yesotara Siprapha Korn from MCU Surin Campus, Thailand. And Surya Klangrit from Chaoyang University of Technology, Taiwan. Dr. Sunday Olawale Olaniran from Department of Adult Education, Faculty of Education. From Adekunle Ajasin University, Ondo State from Nigeria. Associate Professor Dr. Yasir Egomas, English Language and Literature Department, College of Arts, University of Bahrain. Professor Dr. Nayan Kanwal, the Royal Society of Arts from United Kingdom. Israel Joseph R. Sobrano from Far Eastern University, Philippines. And Dr. Sigit Rikayano from Master's Program of Indonesian Language and Literature Education, Universities PGRI Madiun. And other three are Associate Professor Dr. Wasana Gaula from Faculty of Science and Technology, Surin Ratchapat University, Surin Province, Thailand. Associate Professor Dr. Nonglak Ani, Dean of Humanities and Social Sciences, Phetchabun Ratchapat University, and also President of Council of Faculty of Humanities and Social Sciences of Ratchapat Universities in Thailand. And finally, we'll be having Venerable Dr. Alexander Berzin, also known as Venerable Dhammawutto Bhikkhu, a representative of Shedrupling Buddhist community, meditation teacher in the Abhidhamma Buddha Vihara, St. Petersburg, and Paramita Meditation Center in Russia. So these are all the presenters and all the scholars who will be presenting our papers today.
So Venerable Ashira, our director is coming right now, and we will officially run the program. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much to letting us know. Ajahn Anurag, do you have anything to move on to with some important details?
As we know that director is coming now, so we're gonna go to the official opening ceremony right now, shall we?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Ladies and
we
gentlemen,
will let the Ajahn Thawara to open the teaser of the program. Thank you.
Thank you.
Venerable Apika, there is no sound. Could you please turn on the sound?
So right now, on the behalf of ASEAN Study Center, I would like to invite our rector, Thamavachara Bandit, Professor Doctor, to give the opening speech session for the meeting. Thank you, Venerable.
My friends in the Dhamma, good mornings, all the participants. Today, this morning, we have a special occasion to come together to participate in the first international online conference on ASEAN perspectives and innovations, co-organized by MCU Wang Noi, Ayutthaya, and MCU Pali Siksa, Tthโฆษ campus, Nakhon Pathom, and also along with Smaratungga Buddhist College, Indonesia. In the beginning, I like to give so much thanks all the staffs, MCU staffs covering MCU here, Wang Noi campus and Bali Siksa Tthโฆษ campus, Nakhon Pathom, and also Smaratungga Buddhist College, Indonesia, who organized the valuable activities to provide a platform for the Buddhist scholars communities to share the ideas and have the discuss on the interesting topics which is other. I have got information here that in this first international online conference, we have more than 10 countries, scholars from more than 10 countries who come to join this conference, and we have more than 250 articles by many distinguished Buddhist scholars from all over the world, and we have many scholars and interested participants who come together in this morning. I like to give this welcome speech to all the participants and take a few minutes to inform you about the objectives, the purpose of establishing the ASEAN Study Center here in MCU in Thailand. In those days, we have the same the cultural backgrounds, especially the Buddhist cultural backgrounds. We have so many evidence Buddhist site remaining, some have still been in the good situation, but some there are only ruins remaining for us. But we have been assured that we have the same cultural backgrounds in those days, even today, even though some of us may not be Buddhist, but inside us, especially in the mind, we still have the Buddhist teachings in our daily routine. That's the reason why we established here the ASEAN Studies Center in Thailand to remind us of the ancient Buddhist culture in those days, and to restore or revise some aspects of Buddhist cultural to be alive today. And the most important thing is to make to do the exchange program, which is also regarding the students, the Buddhist scholars, to do the research together especially on the topics of Buddhist cultures in Southeast Asian country. In the side of political affairs, the government in those countries around in this region, they have many projects to do together. That's the size of the government of each country. But from the size of Buddhism, we are Buddhist followers. We have the different status. Some are the monks, some are the laymen, but we are Buddhists. We should provide the platform to play the key role together, especially regarding the study, the research, and the propagate the Buddhist teaching to be the doctrine for being applied in their daily routine. Let me share a little bit regarding the information about this matter. I'd like to show you a little bit. In those days, as I have said, we have the political community and as in the ancient time like this. In those days, around this region, we have the three main empire like this. The first one is Phnom, the second is Swaravati, and Vijaya. These are the name of the main area in those days, maybe political community or religious community. I'm not sure about that. But we have three parts of the region like this. Three regions have good relation with each other, covering political relation, religious relation, especially Buddhist relation with each other. If we draw the map like this, we can have the world map like this. This is the areas of each region in those days. One day I have the occasion. I have traveled from the southern part of Thailand, starting from Songkhla around that, and up to Kuala Lumpur to make a survey the Buddhist site along this region. And also I like to travel to Singapore, cross over the border, Johor, and went to Malacca to see the evidence around this region. And also sometimes I went to Sri Lanka to Sri Lanka, and the border of Sri Lanka near close to the sea to make a survey the evidence in that area to interlink the Silk route. The Silk route around this region, it does not mean only the route for commercial affairs, but it means that this is the rules of propagation of Buddhism to spread the Buddhist culture around this area. So we can be assured that in those days we have a strong horns of Buddhist culture around this area, and up to the present. So I think it is good for us to prepare the platform to play the key role together in the first international online conference on Asian perspective and innovation. Today, this morning, I think this is the good point, the starting point to go forward together. I like MCU staff and Smaratungga Buddhist College to collect the materials, the article, and prepare this strong relation with each other, collect the data or regarding of the biography of the Buddhist scholar from each country and make a contact closely with each other and then set up maybe some project to do together, especially project of student exchange, study course online studies, and the research in some especially how to create the Buddhist innovation for mental and social development. As we have seen and we have known very well that the more we have advanced technology, the more the people suffer. So how to release the suffering of the people in the age of technological disruption? I think apart from the Buddhist innovation to develop the mental and social development, we don't have any other instrument to solve this problem. So today, this morning, we come together. We have the good opportunity to create the Buddhist innovation to solve the problems in the new age of the human community. Welcome all the participants to this conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, our rector of Mahachulalongkorn University. And next session, we are going to watch the teaser of the welcome from Mahachulalongkorn University. Please welcome teaser, please. Well, after we've finishing the teaser presentation from ASEAN Study Center, we are going to invite one of the keynote speaker for this morning session, Professor Haji Christen CO Satji from Foundation Academy of Amsterdam, Netherlands. Sorry. So, and now we are waiting for the presentation. Just a moment. Professor Haji, are you there in the?
Yes.
Okay, shall we move to Mr. Haji first?
Okay.
Okay, so
I can share my screen, no?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Anurak.
Yes.
I'm happy to see you again.
Me too. So now, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the host, Mahachulalongkorn University and ASEAN Studies Center, we would like to welcome the keynote speaker, Mr. Haji Christian CO Satji, to make an welcome speech. Sorry, it's not welcome speech. It's the speech for the keynote speaker. Please welcome.
Okay, thank you. I hope I'm audible. So I have only 15 minutes, so I will try my best to summarize my presentation. So thank you very much for organizing this first international conference. And I'm also happy to be part of this important activity. Now, my topic is, can we, ASEAN, drink from our own wells? Decolonizing philosophies of education. Since the global outbreak of COVID-19 on December 2019, there have been almost millions confirmed cases, including 5 million deaths reported to World Health Organization. To address the ongoing challenges of the global pandemic, various governments and non-governmental organizations agreed to continue and strengthen cooperation to address the devastating ripple effects of the COVID-19. Despite these efforts, however, the impacts of COVID-19 pandemic have posed unprecedented challenges, especially to the poorest, most vulnerable and marginalized groups. COVID-19 has disproportionately affected racial, ethnic minority, and marginalized groups. According to recent studies, the poorest, most vulnerable, and marginalized groups are left far behind, according to the report of Economic Policy Institute and IFRC. Moreover, the state of education is one of the visible evidences of this disproportionate impact of COVID-19, according to World Bank and OECD. Based on the recent report of World Bank, I quote, at the peak of pandemic, 45 countries in the Europe and Central Asia region closed their schools, affecting almost approximately 185 million students. Given the absorbedness of the situation, teachers and administrations were unprepared for this transition and were forced to build emergency remote learning system almost immediately. In response, the Global Education Coalition launched by UNESCO created a platform to address inequality, educational disruptions, and to protect the right to education during these unprecedented disruptions and beyond. Critiques, however, universal fulfillment of these rights are too far from the ground. Today, scholars, especially decolonial scholars, activists argue that the hidden legacies of European coloniality provides privilege to society's elite and unfair advantage to marginalized groups. Decolonial scholars argue that even before COVID-19 pandemic, the education system, pedagogy, curriculum are often based on an European philosophical and or epistemological foundation. Since the allocation of opportunity in contemporary society that is becoming ever more dependent on knowledge and education, this Eurocentric pedagogy, knowledge, and curriculum given to students is very detrimental for their self-development as non-Western students. As an American pedagogical theorist and teacher educator, Gloria Lanson Billings contends that these curricula, I quote, legitimize white upper-class males as standard knowledge students need to know. And the outcome of this Eurocentric education is problematic, and it becomes source of great anxiety and concerns nowadays. Moving toward to new abnormal, there are countless education challenges that are still properly unaddressed in Southeast Asian region. Take, for example, low compensations of teachers, lack of available school building and classroom with all required facilities, especially this pandemic period or age, shortage of teachers, especially in remote areas, uneven spread of population, which also creates serious disparities in educational opportunity, lack of good textbooks and other learning materials. Due to financial and geographical reason, this problem can easily be found in remote schools, geographical location, etc., to name a few. However, this talk or paper is devoted to the issue of colonial foundations of education or the politics of knowledge production. In 2013, one of the most esteemed non-Western intellectual, Hamid Dabashi, published an essay, Can Non-Western Think? In Al Jazeera website. The essay is attempt to respond to Santiago Zabala's article entitled Slavoj Žižek and the Role of Philosophers, published in 2013. It became controversial and went viral. It garnered different reaction and comments from the Western world of academia. But why the exchanges between Zabala and Dabashi become controversial and crucial? In these exchanges, Dabashi accused the Italian philosopher Zabala due to his Eurocentric philosophical thinking. On one hand, Dabashi notes Zabala named several Western philosophers and described them as the important philosophers today. On the other hand, Dabashi noticed that Zabala named Western philosophers, for example, Žižek, while failed to name the non-Western philosophers in this way in his essay. Although Zabala mentioned Australia, Brazil, China, he observes that the article displays how philosophy or critical thinking becomes the exclusive property of the white European thinking. For Dabashi, Zabala demonstrates that the Western philosophical thinking is taken as a norm and held up as a great source of knowledge, while non-Western philosophers were unnamed. In this sense, for Dabashi, Zabala's notion of philosophy today, or public intellectual, is predominantly characterized by white Western outlook or an exclusive property of European civilization. In this regard, Dabashi raised several questions. Take, for example, what about other thinkers who operate outside the European philosophical pedigree? What about thinkers outside the purview of these European philosophers? Are non-Western thinkers like Asian thinkers like Thai, Filipino, Indonesian, Malaysian, Vietnamese, Myanmar, or Cambodian similar with the way these European thinkers are? Asking this question, Dabashi shows how knowledge producer to think his or her construction of particular thinking have become universally accepted standard of knowledge, or as a universal discourse without alternatives, namely the Eurocentric American model of global knowledge. In fact, the producers of Western knowledge is a few white men from five Western countries like Italy, France, England, Germany, and the US. To put it another way, the Western philosophical thinking is locally produced but globally imposed as desirable and normative knowledge, including in the philosophical foundation of education. He further argues that, I quote, there is thus a direct and unmitigated structural link between an empire and an imperial frame of reference that presume universality of a thinker thinking in the bosoms of that empire. Many scholars argue that the superiority of white European American ways of thinking is the manifestation of white supremacy and white privilege. in his article titled White Supremacy and Eurocentric Epistemology or Epistemologies on the West's Responsibility for its Philosophical Heritage, Bjorn Frittir, for example, exposes the white supremacy and racism in the Western philosophical and epistemological tradition, primarily in the largely overlooked racist view of Voltaire, David Hume, and Immanuel Kant. In fact, these Western philosophers, white supremacy and racism shaped their philosophical thinking. Unfortunately, Bjorn, he adds, I quote, the Western philosophical scholarship does not simply ignore it, rather it appeared to be widely, intentionally disregarded. Consequently, the Western knowledge became the form of academic imperialism, where the group of white Western men dominates, silences, and undervalues other academic voices, particularly the voices from the global South. While for other scholars have often been called the academic imperialism as cognitive imperialism. By the way, the cognitive imperialism, according to founding academic director of Aboriginal Educational Research Center at the University of Saskatchewan, Canada, Marie Basteste, is a mental control of a people by their former colonial master to take political and economic advantages, including to disclaim other knowledge's bases and values. Now, decolonizing philosophies. But what exactly the relevance of decolonizing or decolonial option to the epistemological or philosophical foundation of education? Such decoloniality invites scholars to broaden the whole discourse, since the word epistemic or philosophical foundation of education has been used for such a broad variety of specific agendas. Decolonial scholars argue that the people from the wreck of the earth need to challenge, to delink, and to practice epistemic disobedience. Most especially how Western scholars define and frame the philosophical foundation of education. This is where the delinking, as decolonial thinkers have broadly defined as desprederse or epistemic disobedience comes in. Epistemic disobedience, according to Walter Mignolo, is epistemic delinking from Eurocentric model of knowledge production and radical dismantling the existing white normative scientific discourse that remains at the academic center. Epistemic disobedience proposes to open up new spaces, new pathways that have liberatory potential. In short, the relevance of the colonial option or epistemic disobedience to the study of philosophical foundation are the following. First, epistemic disobedience challenges the privilege of Western thinking and epistemologies, and it calls into question the basis of and the control of hegemonic knowledge, and offers a way of reaffirm the significance of situated knowledge. Hence, it rejects the hubris of zero-point epistemology. In relation to the first argument, epistemic disobedience rejects the notion that there is an only one orthodox Western canon of thinking that applies in various contexts and culture. More importantly, it condemned the epistemic violence. Epistemic violence, according to the colonial scholars, is a form of silencing or to silence the voices of marginalized groups, most especially the non-Western scholars from the global South. Next, epistemic disobedience hold that Western philosophical foundation of education requires pluralistic formations. Therefore, it rejects inferiorized non-Western other epistemologies, hierarchy of knowledge, and androcentric knowledge or male-centered knowledge, but engendered epistemological pluralism and democratization of knowledge, not just a privilege from knowledge from privileged elites. Then epistemic disobedience fosters holistic-oriented or intersectionality reflections that grounded in people and vulnerable marginalized group, a place, a history, and a nature. Lastly, epistemic disobedience developed an epistemological framework to value indigenous systems of knowledge and spirituality. In conclusion, allow me to ask these questions. Can we, ASEAN, drink from our own wells? Let me rephrase the questions to be more precise. Can Asians think philosophically or in terms of philosophical, can produce philosophical foundations of education? I find this thought-provoking question, however, I notice that for many, it is a damn, nonsense, stupid, insensitive questions, especially if one is not familiar with the ongoing debates of geopolitics of knowledge production that being raised by post-colonial, anti-imperialist, and decolonial scholars. In fact, this question has been asked by Singaporean civil servant, career diplomat, Kosheri Mambubani. Mambubani published a book titled Can Asian Think? In 1998. In his book, he pointed out that the most painful thing that happened to Asia in the last 300 years of colonization, of course, perhaps not included Thailand, was not physically but mentally colonization. Many Asians began to believe that Asians were inferior beings to the Europeans. The mental colonization has not been completely eradicated in Asia, and many Asian societies are still struggling to break free. In answer to his own titular questions, can Asian think? He responds that the Asian cannot think. Not that Asian cannot think, but they have yet to learn en masse altogether how to think freely. And I think I end my presentation by that. Thank you very much for listening.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Haji. Professor Haji Crescencio Saje from Foundation Academy of Amsterdam, Netherlands, for presenting, to be the first one to give the keynote speech on behalf of the organizing committee. I would like to sincerely thank Professor Haji. And from now on, I would like to move on to the missed session that we missed this morning. So now I would like to invite the Associate Professor Dr. Pratham Vachara Meti, Vice Rector of Mahachulalongkorn Rajavidyalaya University, Pali Siksa Buddha Kosa campus, to open his pre-recorded clip for the welcome speech. So I think the staffs will be sharing the screen. So please share the screen of the Most Venerable Associate Professor Pratham Vachara Meti to show all the participants.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am Prathep Suvarnameti, the assistant to the president of MCU Pali Siksa Buddha Kosa campus. MCU Pali Siksa Buddha Kosa Nakhon Prathom campus, located in Nakhon Prathom province, has opened various courses including BA, MA, and PhD in the area of authentic Buddhism, Vipassana meditation, Tipitaka study, and Pali Buddhist studies, more than 2 decades. On behalf of organizing team, I am honored and delighted to welcome you to the first international online conference on Asian perspective and innovation, to be held on the 2nd of February 2022, organized by Asian Studies Center and Mahachulalongkorn Rajavidyalaya University, Pali Siksa Buddha Kosa campus, Thailand, in association with Smaratungga Buddhist University, Indonesia. The conference is intended for discussing lively and emerging issues of a particular educational domain and dissemination the awareness among other researchers and scholars. We have been witnessing the dramatic improvements in the field of Asian perspective and multidisciplinary technologies and innovation. I hope this conference will become surely the most important international event and bring out latest trends in Asian perspective and innovation in the new era. In order to provide an outstanding research level for the presentations at the conference, we have invited distinguished experts to participate in the program. We will have plenary sessions by keynote speakers during the conference, including the awards presentation during the closing session as well. I hope this conference will make you to reflect yourself with state-of-the-art and provide opportunity to discuss various educational issues and challenges including other sciences with multidisciplinary aspects. With best regards.
Okay, so on behalf of the organizing committee, once again, thank you to Most Venerable Associate Professor Dr. Pratham Vacharameti to send his pre-recorded welcome speech clip to all of us. So now I would like to welcome Venerable Ditti Sampanno or Venerable Buddhi Uttamo, Dr. Buddhi Uttamo, from the Rector of Smaratungga Buddhist College of Indonesia, to please come on and give the welcome speech on behalf of the Smaratungga Buddhist College. Please, Venerable Sir.
Thank you. Tip Waramedi, Past Rector of Administration, Mahachulalongkorn Raja Vidyalaya University, and also to the Associate Professor Dr. Prathama Vacharameti, Vice Rector of Mahachulalongkorn Raja Vidyalaya University, Bali Seksa Buddha Campus, also to the Dr. Lampong Klongkun, Director of Research, Information and Academic Service, ASEAN Studies Center, Mahachulalongkorn Raja Vidyalaya University. Also, my respectful to the Honor Mr. Haji Crescencio Sace, the Foundation Academic of Amsterdam, Netherlands, as one of the keynote speaker, and then Dr. Pankat Sriwastara from National Institute of Technology, India, and Dr. Chai Ching Tan, Ratana Kosin, International College of Creative Entrepreneurship at RISE, Racamagala University of Technology, Ratana Kosin. Also, all of the panelists and participants of the first international Thank you to Mahachulalongkorn Raja Vidyalaya University, especially for the ASEAN Studies Center who invite us from the Smaratungga Buddhist College to join as the committee of this conference. As we know, the ASEAN of Southeast Asian country is very complete and very rich with the culture, academic and studies and philosophy, and many of innovation in the new era. This I think this is very interesting to us to discuss about get reform or from the tradition to the technology. The panelists and participants, I'm very thank you to your participant in this conference, and we can join together for discuss about the Buddhism, especially Buddhism, technology, and also tradition. Such as in my country now, we have some program how to get some for some scholar program about the heritage and pilgrim, and also in tourism. So maybe next we can join in the other conference too. I invite all of you to join in this conference about the heritage and then pilgrim and also tourism. And then once again, I would like to say thank you to all of participants on behalf of the committee. Please enjoy the seminar, and we hope we can use the seminar to discuss and be happy. Good morning and Namo Buddhaya.
On behalf of the organizing committee and being one of the organizing committee himself, I would like to thanks Venerable Prachan Bodhi Utomo or Venerable Ditti Sampanno, Director of Smaratungga Buddhist College of Indonesia, to give the welcome speech to all. And now, last but not least, we are still having one of the executives or one of the steering committee, organizing committee, who will be coming here and giving the welcome speech to all. So now I would like to welcome or let our staff share a pre-recorded video of Dr. Lampong Klomkoon, Director of Research Information and Academic Services, ASEAN Studies Center, MCU.
Dear delegates and colleagues, on behalf of the first ICAPI 2022, as the conference coordinator, it is a great pleasure and honor to extend my warm invitation to all esteemed delegates to the first International Online Conference on ASEAN Perspective and Innovation, ICAPI 2022. That will be held on the 2nd February 2022, organized by ASEAN Studies Center and Bali ศึกษา ทธโฆษ Campus นครปฐม มหาจุฬาลงกรณราชวิทยาลัย University, Thailand, in association with Smaratungga Buddhist College, Indonesia. The themes of the first ICAPI 2022 is Conference on ASEAN Perspectives and Innovation. We underpin the needs for participation in forums for collaborative research and cooperation among individuals from a wide range of educational and technical backgrounds. According to the situations of the COVID-19 pandemic, the first ICAPI 2022 conference had decided to use an online and video conferencing that will surely provide a wonderful platform for you to refresh your knowledge base and explore the innovation in educational and multidisciplinary in ASEAN countries. So the conference will strive to offer plenty of networking opportunities, providing with you with the opportunity to meet and interact with educators, researchers, and scholars via online. We are looking forward to all participation in oral presentations to share your educational research and multidisciplinary knowledge. I strongly believe that this international meet will provide a fantastic opportunity for global networking and fostering research collaboration within the worldwide innovation and educational fraternities. I hope you will join us for our symphonies of outstanding conference, and thank you for your kind attention and contribute a great piece of your research work in our conference and for further publication in international index journal. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Lampong Plomkoon, the Director of Research Information and Academic Services, ASEAN Studies Center of MCU, and one of the organizing committee to be here and give the to show us the welcome speech. So now, without further ado, I would like to move on with our second keynote speaker, who is already here. And before I invite him, I would like to briefly give his bio. So Professor Dr. Pankaj Srivastava, Professor in Departments of Mathematics from Motilal Nehru National Institute of Technology, Allahabad, Pragyaraj, India. Areas of research that he has conducted like fuzzy data analytics, design and development of soft computing intelligent systems with reference to medical diagnosis and tourism, Ramanjuan's computational systems, tensor analysis and market research. And his professional memberships like the National Academy of Sciences India, Society for Special Functions and their Applications, the Indian Academy of Mathematics, Indian Society for History of Mathematics, Indian Society of Mathematics and Mathematical Sciences, Indian Society for Fuzzy Structures, Cryptography Research Society of India, Indian Mathematical Society, and Gwalior Academy of Mathematics and Science. And he was also the chair in conference in Eminent Academician Award 2018 given by the Indian Academic Researchers Association in 2018, Tiruchirappalli, Tamil Nadu, IMRF Excellence Award in 2016 for Mathematics given by the International Multidisciplinary Research Foundation at Kerala University in 2016, and also was honored by the National Academy of Sciences India for outstanding science communication programs on the National Science Day in 2011 at NASI head office, Pragyaraj. So now, without further ado, I would like to welcome Professor Dr. Pankaj Srivastava to be our second keynote speakers. So please welcome, sir.
Thanks, Dr. Ashir, for introducing me. And I'm thankful to the organizing. My voice is clear, sir?
Yes, it's
Okay.
clear.
So, first of all, I'm honored to be invited here by my friends and fellow colleagues from Thailand. I'm grateful to the organizing committee for providing me an opportunity to share my knowledge domain with my Thai colleagues. The respective dignitaries, participants across the world, I have a very close affection and a close relation with Thailand. I give a due respect to Thai people, and I have visited several times Thailand. My last visit to Thailand was in 2019. Since the pandemic, I'm unable to move because everything we are doing here online. I express my sincere thanks to Dr. Ashir for giving a detailed description. And I would like to mention that my institution is located at Prayagraj, that is an ancient Indian city nearby Kaushambi, one of the famous Buddhist center, nearby Varanasi, Sarnath. And this particular location is actually the confluence of three holy rivers, Ganga, Yamuna, and Saraswati. Ganga, I think all of you know very well, that the most pious river, having some beautiful characteristics. My area of research activity is designing development of intelligent system concerned with the medical science and tourism. Even I have entered designing domain, designing development intelligent system in spirituality. In one of the last talk I shared that way. Today I'm going to share my talk in the respective section that all of you have mentioned, innovation and development. I would like to keep my talk there in that particular section, because here I'm going to introduce how a person, means how we can develop an intelligent system to detect the condition of cardiovascular diseases. So a little bit, maybe plus minus 5 minutes may happens. So I would like to request the Honorable Chairperson to permit me to cross the limit as all of you have fixed. Hope you will consider, and I hope that my fellow colleagues will enjoy, because medical is one of the very important issue. If you are medically fit, everything is possible. Here, a distinguished guest has mentioned the meditation and vipassana. These all are directly connected with our medical phenomena, the phenomena that occurs in our body system to make an equilibrium in between positive and negative energy of the whole body system or the respective organ of the body system, because that is the entire domain, entire universe, and this beautiful product of the nature also governed by this play of equilibrium of positive and negative energy. So let me allow to share my screen. I hope this screen is visible to all of you.
Yes, sir. Please.
Dear fellow colleagues, the purpose is, okay, design development of intelligent system, that is a core content. But this coronary heart diseases, this is a very important phenomenon. It totally depends upon our food, our behavior, our attitude, and the environment or the surroundings where you used to live. A lot of factors are there. Not only alone food is responsible for creating this problem. About 108 type of cardiac diseases are there. Some of them are the severe one, and some of them are the primary one. So the primary disease that creates a problem that may be very well detected by our own. Because as per my perception, our body is a perfect information system. It gives an indication of each and everything that happens inside the body system. If everything is going well, definitely your face will shine like anything. If something is going well, not well, definitely the reflection of the entire phenomena of the body system is visible. So as my Thai colleagues are mostly focusing on vipassana, so that is a mechanism to improve the positive energy to dominate the negative domain of our body system. And once the positive energy will increase, so definitely the imbalance that has been created, that will be perfectly cured. So that is the phenomena that is the beyond the expectations of our scientific phenomena. As per my perception, whatever I have read, whatever I have realized through my own experience, the scientific knowledge is up to the level of 10 to power minus 19. What is happening beyond 10 to power minus 19, science is still investigating. Just like now a lot of things concerned with the meditation has been verified with the machine like EEG, and a lot of things that the chanting of mantras, how it creates energy, the impact of this energy system on your aura, all these things are under investigation, and scientific personalities, scientific domain are trying to know all these things. Technologically, we are far behind. Technologically, it is up to 10 to power minus 9 level. The developments are going on. So there is a lot of gap of scientific knowledge and the technological knowledge, and a unbelievable gap, the natural phenomena that each and every division of science and technology, the literature, or respective studies, they all are trying to understand the phenomena of nature, how it is happening, why everything is governed with the sunrise, why everything is very well controlled by all these 5 elements, those who are responsible for the development of this universe, for the development of this beautiful planet. So I would like to start my slides, just have a look on this, whether it is changing. Let me check. Yeah. Basically, let me focus because a lot of things are to share. I don't know what amount of time you will share, allow me. But anyway, I will try my best to conclude this phenomena in due course of time. Basically, our younger generation, they are very crazy about their work, especially IT people. The persons, because we are associated with a prominent technological institution, we are guiding a lot of students and those who are now dominating in the international domain and the IT sector. What we have noticed, that they are not at all careful about your health. So what is happening at a very early age, they are suffering from the diseases like diabetes, sugar, diabetes, hypertension, and other important things. So, but they don't know why it is happening. Most of the times, these symptoms are not at all detected, realized by these fellows because they are absolutely young. They have no idea. They are work crazy. Day and night, they are working. They believe that this body system is fully protected, but they forget that their entire attitude will make an impact on the body system. So that's why they are unable to detect these symptoms that this body usually provides. In every disease, this body system gives an indication. It's you that you will have to observe that why it is happening. If you are unable, so definitely another level of severeness type of symptoms will be shared. But once you are unable to detect these symptoms, these signals that is being shared by the brain in the governance of, under the governance of the respective body organ, the fellows definitely will be under the grip of the severe type of diseases. So first of all, I would like to share that what is the thing that is directly concerned, because I am sharing here my knowledge concerned with the coronary system, concerned with the coronary heart diseases, and a system that we have designed. With the help of that, how we can detect, how a person who has an idea, how he can detect the accuracy, how he can detect the possibility, how he can detect that how much amount of severeness type he or she has regarding with respect to disease. I'm not going to give a detail about the blood pressure. Blood pressure, it is a simple phenomena. And it is a relationship that happens in between brain and heart, a kind of supply chain management. This supply chain management system that controls the entire body system. The supply chain management system that entire influence is visible on each and every part of the body system. A little bit delay in supply of the purified blood to the respective parts of the body, definitely the situation will be dangerous. So why this in a simple language? Everything is mentioned there for those who are interested to read it, read it. I'm not going through these slides. These slides are for my audience. Once this supply chain management, due to your routine, due to your habit, due to your eatery system, due to your pressure, tension, it faces some problem. That moment, the supply of blood is not reached at the respective organ in accordance with the stipulated time. And once in the stipulated time, if it is not properly managed, so that moment our heart try to create and exert extra pressure to obey the orders of the signals that he has received from the brain. And if this phenomena continued, so definitely the person will suffer from the disease like high blood pressure or something else. So this blood pressure that maintains the blood flow in the body system in the stipulated time frame under the supply management system, this is the one of the core issue that gives an indication. These are the respective things that if you are unable to control, if you are unable to maintain the blood pressure system in a body, so definitely the multiple organs have a direct impact. One of the key organ is the kidney. Kidney has that is the responsible for the waste items discharge phenomena that affects highly due to the non-control. Sometimes our body system gives an indication that if you are suffering from blood pressure, that moments you will desire an additional salt during your food. Sometimes this blood pressure indicates that if something is not going well, so that moments it indicates that that either blur figure appears, especially in the morning. If the blur figure appears, so that gives an indication that something is not going well. So as I shared that this body system is a very good information system regarding this. As the time is limited, so I'm unable to, I will restrict myself for the various explanation that is directly connected. So the that if you are not careful about the supply chain management system of the brain and heart, so that moment the heart failure, the kidney disease, blindness, and other multiple diseases that comes in picture time to time. This I'm not going to discuss about the kidney and the heart, what they used to do, because these are the part, and the eyes that is directly impact, the arteries that are mostly, they are mostly flexible, that becomes hardened, and due to this one. So these are the certain issues that is directly concerned with the your blood pressure related issues. So sometimes it is a query. Generally, people are asked who will suffer from the why this blood pressure is caused. So reasons are unknown. There are multiple reasons. That's why it is commonly called as a silent killer. Sometimes this once you are not familiar with the phenomena that is happening in your body system and you are not careful, so that moment you may be in the second phase. That hypertension is the first phase of the cardiac problem. The second phase that comes in picture due to the slow pulse rate means the bradycardia, and the fast pulse rate, that is bradycardia, and sometimes the irregular pulse. It happens in your own, and that caused by your own habits. And then this high blood pressure that we call it as a hypertension, and the low blood pressure is hypotension is there. So these are the primary diseases that gives an indication to our body system that be careful, be alert, try to change your lifestyle, try to change your eatery system, try to live in a positive domain, try to live with the people, those who are having a positive approach of working. So that will change the phenomena, that will change the attitude, and you yourself will control these diseases that now emerging, you will reverse it. But if you are not careful, you are work alcoholic, you are not changing your habit. So that moment, what will happen? That moment, you will suffer to the severe level of the diseases. So I'm not here going to share. These are the risk factors generally that once you go through the literatures concerned with the heart functioning and the blood pressure. So what are the physical main responsibility why it happens? Obesity is one of the important issue, because if your BMI index is not accurate, if it is not feasible, if it is not permissible under the permissible limit, so definitely you are under the grip of obesity, and that nobody else will control. You yourself are responsible. Then the physical inactivity. Nowadays, you notice that during this COVID pandemic, most of 99% people are working from home. No physical activity is there. Every time we are sitting in front of the system. So this physical inactivity is another important issue. High consumption of alcohol. This is a serious high intake of dietary system that I indicated, that this body indicates that you have some problem once you require additional salt. Okay, salt is a sodium and potassium, they are very much responsible for our body system. But additional means that is something not well inside the body system. Low intake of dietary potassium, as I indicated, that if the potassium is going to reduce, so definitely it will give an impact in our heart. Stress is one of the important. Somebody who is living in a very stressful atmosphere, every time under tension, definitely he will be under the grip of. So you will have to take care that these are the factors, they gives an impact. Because definitely it is correct that once you take the first breath, that moment, the diseases are assigned with us. Because I told you that positive and negative contents are assigned with us. And these diseases that are assigned due to our DNA and other factors that comes in picture at the appropriate time, they appears at the appropriate time. And this time, this platform is provided by our own habit. If you control, if you do regular yoga, do meditation, visit the regular Vipassana centers, and try to maintain the positive approach in each and everything, definitely you will delay this process. They are inside, but they are requiring the proper platform. When you will provide the platform, once you will try to reduce your sleeping hour and increase your physical exercise, so you remember that this body system requires perfect rest. So at least 7 hours is required. So all the natural phenomena, as it is governed by the planet, as it is governed by this 5 elements, you will have to follow the nature's rule. Don't go against the nature's rule. Once you will go, initially in the beginning, due to heavy amount of energy, you may fight, but in due course of time, this heavy energy will reduce and the negative energy will dominate. So increasing age factor is another issue that is a normal phenomena. Cigarette smoking, that major problem. Increased blood cholesterol. So it means too much oily foods that I have noticed in Thailand, that all of you are very much careful about your food system. Mostly you follow the nature system. I think each and everyone takes dinner by 6 p.m. maximum. And by the evening of the by the evening means as soon as sun comes to the last phase, that you start, and your food is perfectly matches with the natures, and that's why I have noticed that most of the faces are shining. They are looks healthy. I have not seen maybe I have not seen a person during my visit to Thailand who is suffering from obesity. The credit goes to your nature's love, credit goes to your the food style, and credit goes to your lifestyle as well. I appreciate very much. That's why I quoted in the beginning that I appreciate Thai people very much. This increased blood cholesterol and the patients with systematic means a lot of things are there that is responsible. And family history is one of the measure, because family history means that that the inherent property that transfer from our forefathers to us. So everything comes one by one. So therefore, I'm skipping a lot of slides. because it will take more than 1 hour, but I would like to reduce it. So here, I'm just giving a clinical manifestation related with the primary phase of disease. And because I quoted, that gives an indication. So these are the respective symptoms that you may notice: morning, occipital headache, dizziness, fatigue, and severe hypertension, blurred vision, and all these things. I shared all these things, that you must be careful about your phenomena that is happening. You must be careful about the respective symptoms that occurs. These symptoms not regularly appears. Sometimes time to time it gives an indication. So that moment, suppose if you are standing somewhere and suddenly you faced an issue like fainting or something like that, it means if once it happens, doesn't matter, but at a regular interval, if it is happening, it means something is wrong inside our body system. So on the basis of these introduction related with the cardiac related issues, we notice that these are the respective input variables, because we are going to design an intelligent system, and this intelligent system will help this our friends and fellow colleagues and society. So definitely we must be careful about what are the important features. So important features under the name of input variables, the age is one of the factor. LDL and HDL, these are the cholesterol, the bad cholesterol and good cholesterol. Systolic blood pressure, diastolic blood pressure, triglyceride, body mass index, heart rate, exercise, smoking. Suppose, because once you are going to design a system, so important and prominent input variables that you yourself will have to detect. Here we can increase it. We can increase up to 20. But the problem that comes regarding the computation, because our system doesn't support the system, that moment we require, that is a big data development, and that moment we require a supercomputer to compute. So for the first phase or second phase or third phase, because these are the respective phases of the development of an intelligent system. So suppose I have identified these 9 variables, I think 3 and 3, 6. Yes, 9 or 10 variables are there. And these 10 variables, now the thing is that we will have to generate a data. How will we generate? Because everything comes in terms of symptoms. So how will we generate these data? And this will be a huge data. And on the basis of that data analytics, we will come to a conclusion with the help of a system. So how will we do it? So here I refer that the language of nature is a mathematical domain. As we quote it, mathematics is the queen of science. As I quote it normally, that mathematics is the language of nature. So whatever is happening in nature, try to translate with the help of your mathematical information. There are infinite number of tools are there. You yourself will be responsible to select that tool, that which tool is closely associated with this function. And this tool is capable enough to capture the information that is being shared by the age factor, LDL, HDL, SB, and diastolic blood pressure, triglyceride. Because once you go for the lipid profile test, so that moment you will notice that everything is prescribed in a closed interval, where this interval means the lower end and higher end both are mentioned, and you are advised that try to maintain your every feature within this closed interval. Don't go outside. Don't go in the either in the positive or negative side. Positive or negative side shifting means something is going to be. So therefore, that I am giving an indication that every lipid profile is computed on the basis of the computational skills. So here we are going to take the certain risk factors that is responsible, and whatever be there, because remember, cases differs, because there are the 2 identities, men and women, of this nature's product. So definitely both are not having exactly the same symptoms. Their symptoms are differs. So we will try, because but I will try to explain all these things. So some of them are very common. So here the diastolic blood pressure, and all these things that I have shared that is connected with the coronary heart diseases. So these risk factors, now I would like to refer it in the form of the various layers of the ages. Not a single age is there. This age will be classified in the various layers. Similarly, the systolic blood pressure will be classified, because you know, it's a very important information for the regarding the blood pressure point of view, that at every moment it fluctuates. At every moment it fluctuates. Whenever you are under stress, that moment it will be at the higher end. Whenever you are in a emotionally very low level, that moment it will go down. So it means the heart functions according to your thinking style. When you are very energetic, so definitely you are in a upbeat mood, your blood pressure definitely it will be at higher end will be, because you are fully energetic. So everything that is that we use to classify in the respective layers, and these layers are under the respective names. These names will be utilized in the computations. For example, aged, young, slightly aged, aged, very aged, old. Means a person may join any one of the group as per his or her age. Systolic blood pressures has been classified. Normally figure is 120. So here 120 or above or below, we have classified accordingly. Similarly, this diastolic blood pressure, the HDL, and the total cholesterol level. So various layers have been designed in order to capture. Remember, you can't compute anything in a single shot. You will have to compute in steps and steps, in layers and layers, and then combine all these layers, definitely a fine output you will get. So that is the reason why I am classifying it in the respective layers. And these layers will provide us some data, and then we will combine all these data for the computations. So here triglyceride is also one of the important factor associated with the fat phenomena. Smoking, it is a man-made problem. So it depends upon, there are number of persons, those who are chain smoker, those who doesn't smoke. So it varies from, so we have decided according to the number of days, how many number of cigarettes they are consuming, because that will give a direct impact on their lungs. So once the lungs is not healthy, so definitely the rest of the supply chain management system will directly affected by this. So now here we have also taken the, in order to computations of this system, development of this system, we also take care about the diabetes, one of the medical disorder, the family history, obesity factor, that we also consider under the name of 0 and 1, because I'm not going in detail about it, because that he has or doesn't, she has or doesn't, any one of, so classification we have made. So, and then depending upon the age of men and women, we have constructed here 25 fuzzy rules. Means 30, 25, I'm not going in mathematical component. I'm just share that on the basis of this output, means on the basis of these classifications, we design 25 rules. And these rules are under
Sorry
the
to
name
interrupt, Dr. Pankaj. Could we have you finished in 3
5 minutes? I would like to finish.
Okay, sure.
Don't worry about it, because I told you in the beginning that maybe plus minus, but I will try to. So the respective Birmingham heart study reports medical concern, because this is the approach that we have made here. It is a multi-dimensional, means it is a multidisciplinary domain. So here it is a knowledge fusion of mathematical domain, medical domain, and the social domain as well. So we go ahead with the help of all these relations between a man and systolic blood pressure, between a woman and a systolic blood pressure, between a man and diastolic blood pressure, between a woman and diastolic blood pressure, men and cholesterol under the name of LDL, SDL or total. The respective component of the triglyceride, respective component of the diabetes, whether he has or she has smoking. So all these computations that we are indicating in the abbreviated words, L, SM, M, AM, all these things will be mathematically computed. As the time frame is limited, I'm not going in much more detail about it. So So here we are using this risk assessment function. So this risk assessment function is governed by the factors that I have mentioned here. These factors are here, Ri into Xi divided by 2. And there are the number of components that how many missed number of there. So Ri represents our Xi and Ri represents our fuzzy knowledge. Fuzzy knowledge means that is not a perfect knowledge. That means it captures the images of entire phenomena that is happening. Nothing is crisp, nothing is pinpointed. In and around of that pinpointed domain, the images in a positive or negative side, that we call it as a fuzzy knowledge, and the risk factors of the fuzzy relations that govern and design this risk system. Let's have a look on this case studies that we have made. Here it is the details of a person who is a 47-year-old, whose gender is male. Systolic blood pressure is 143, diastolic is 88, total cholesterol is 180, LDL is 100 mg, HDL is 30 mg, triglyceride 250 mg. He is a pre-diabetic fellow. He has no smoking phenomena. He has a family history, yes, and obesity is no. Then we try to capture it with the help of the number that we call as a trapezoidal fuzzy number, and with the help of this we compute. And these relations, that all 25 relations under the name of respective components, have been computed here. That is a very long calculations and that requires time. So that's why I have summarized, because I know that that 10 to 20, 50 minutes will be with me. So that's why I have summarized here. So all these rules that has provided the digit in between 0, 1 are according to the respective combinations. And we utilize this risk assessment function. The output is there, and then the risk assessment function indicates that a person whose lipid profile just now I have used, he has a chances of, he has the possibility of having 84% of the coronary heart disease. Similarly, the another person whose details are here, the respective details, then its computations are carried out with this machine, and it indicates that person is having a possibility of 85% or 86% of coronary heart diseases risk assessment. Similarly, the case 3, the case 4, and this is the respective algorithm. With the help of that, we may go ahead to design a machine. We have designed this machine, and this is the respective algorithms and component. And that's all about it, because here I would like to share one thing, that once you have the respective data, and once you have the respective algorithm, it's a flowchart is possible, and then you yourself may translate, may develop a program either in C language or Java or Python or whatever be the language you want. You can design a machine, and with the help of that machine, a person, if he or she enters the data, he may assess or she may assess what possibility are there regarding the coronary heart diseases. So this division is directly concerned with the multidisciplinary domain. Here the involvement of a person who is having the knowledge concerned with the language of computations, the knowledge of medical history, more knowledge of medical science, and knowledge of system science. So this is my area of expertise. This is my favorite choice. So, and that I feel that if you have a knowledge, utilize it for the humankind, for the welfare of the society, that will be a great contribution to our knowledge system to the society. Thank you very much for listening me, for allowing me for 5 or 10 minutes that I have crossed. For that, I ask you to forgive me that I have crossed your the stipulated time period, but sometimes if health comes in picture, so hope some possibility will be there. Thank you, Dr. Ashir.
It's okay. So on behalf of the organizing committee, I would like to sincerely thanks Professor Pankaj Srivastava, who has delivered a very valuable knowledge to everyone. And I hope that this knowledge will be very helpful, because it is related to health to all the listeners here. So now, without further ado, I will be moving on forward to our...
Professor Ashir, I would like to say a single word, if you allow. Let the situation be normal. I will invite all of you to India as a guest to participate in the program that we used to organize here in India. I have invited your fellow colleagues Somchai, Prapala Somchai, several times and other colleagues. So it's my invitation to all of you to visit India on my request, on my invitation. Let the situation be normal. Hope the situation will normal. I will invite you everybody here.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Srivastava, for inviting all of us. So now I would like to move on to our last keynote speaker for this morning, and we will be inviting Dr. Chai Ching Tan. But before we invite him, I would like to give the brief bio about him. So he has obtained his Doctor of Business Administration from Southern Cross University, Australia in 2009, Masters in Advanced Business Management Practices from University of South Australia in 2004, Master and Bachelor in Mechanical Engineering, University of Wisconsin, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, USA, and several more degrees and certificates and diplomas that he obtained. And for experiences, he was in School of Management in Mapfa Luang University from 2011 to present, and his publications and books, famous books like Towards an Integrated Account of Competence-Based Theory of Competitions, and many more. I would not take this opportunity to explain all about him. So now, ladies and gentlemen, please join me to welcome Dr. Chai Ching Tan to please be here and share his valuable knowledge. Please, sir, are you here?
Yes, thank you, Prat Asher. And it is my honors to be able to present to you. And let me share my screen, and we go ahead with the presentation. Okay, so I guess Prat Asher, are you able to see my screen now?
Yes, sir. Please move. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Okay, it is again, thank you very much for inviting me. And my topic today would be about Buddhist spirituality based. Particularly, I would be focusing on consciousness, which is a very, very important entry point and penetration point for today, for the future, into artificial intelligence and further developments, which we are seeing Industry 4.0 and 5.0. So let's start. If you go into the literature reviews, for example, using trying to map out the bibliometric maps of this of the spiritual themes, you will not be difficult to see that it does has connections with the science, with the philosophies on the one hand, and also the applications on the other hand of spiritualities, as we have seen from 37 published the papers to be presented today. In the technical sessions, we're seeing a lot of applications, and Professor Panka was just illustrating one of the applications, which is on the health. And Professor Panka also has a lot of applications in tourism and hospitalities, including myself. Also, I do have hospitalities and tourism. So we will see a lot of applications today from the technical session. And also we have it is connecting to this religion and so on and so forth, depression and so on and so forth. So you can see that spirituality has a lot of connections. And if you really go into the details of the literature review, you're probably able to get a good multidisciplinary understanding. And that is exactly what spirituality is all about, to help us understand and solve multidisciplinary issue. But again, I would like to stress on is that religion can be divisive to a certain extent, but spirituality is very native and inborn in human being, and therefore it is really a very good common shared common understanding for the human beings, and that is a good thing for research. Spirituality, there are a lot of the things we can talk about it, but I would just break it down into three perspectives. And one of the perspective is the recipients, those people who get the benefit from spirituality focus. And well, certainly it connects to it's benefit the self. As we have seen that if we build and develop spirituality, it really strengthening and develops, cultivates our mind, and eventually understand the reality, as we have seen in which is the core themes of Buddhist training and practices that we have been doing in Thailand and India and elsewhere. And slowly and gradually we will, because of our understanding, we will gradually detach from all the greed, hatred, and delusion. And we will gain more responsibility because we understand the reality and understand the frictions and sufferings of peoples, and responsibility will be becoming a habit and becoming a person, something that natural with us. And loving kindness, wisdoms, and source of also comes automatically. And again, it's not only benefiting ourselves. What benefits us will also benefit others, because when we, for example, when we study the Buddhist practices in Satipatthana or this Buddhist philosophies, we will understand from the point of view that everything is non-self, anatta. And so understanding ourselves is really understanding understanding others, or understanding the reality. So it is Buddhist really has given, for example, me a great benefits to help many students, and to be able to solve social psychological issue. Partly because predominantly because it is anatta, and so that we can easily understand the social and psychological issue. Again, spirituality, it's about working. It's about work. It's about productive work, and whatever we have done, as I've just explained it to you, eventually it will return in terms of the productive works that we contribute and that we do, and therefore spirituality does contribute in terms of bodily work, positive bodily work, and of course the mind work and the qualities cetasika that comes with the mind, and in English we call it the qualia. And so as again work in engineering term, it's the 4 times the distance that we move. So if we have a good spiritualities, definitely we will demonstrate very productive, positive work. And bear in mind that spirituality is, although it has this self and others reality, contributions, and productive work, really it is in the process of searching for purpose and meaning. And and that is what religions comes into the pictures, and different peoples will have different understandings of it. But eventually, it is about transcending the frictions and getting into be able to animate the life forces, and so that you can get the maximum work out of the maximum work out of this, and the maximum work, of course, is the path that leads everyone to nirvana. And well, true spirituality is very important, but it is not straightforward. We have to get into a process, and that is what the topic of today. They are slowly get you into the process through consciousness and spiritualities. To be able to get into understanding the spiritualities, whereby no matter how the environment, which is called the stimulus, no matter how the environments are stimulating us, we will not be negatively influenced by all the environments, and therefore stimulus, whatever it is, it could be through the things that we see, it could be through the food that we taste, it could be through people that we feel or touch, whatever. We will be able to have a happy mind and body system, and because of a happy and body mind system, we respond positively to the environment. And in the social psychological world, we call it SOR response as SOR theory or SOR model, which is a very, very famous model of psychology or social psychology in the Western world, as far as the literature is concerned. You can basically use SOR to do a lot of research and understand. But again, this is just a part of this Buddhist or spiritual world. And if you want to get into this happy mind-body systems, we need to engage with a spiritual process. And that spiritual process starts with right views and right thoughts, which is the insight. And then eventually, because we forming the right views automatically, it leads us to good action. And we already have been trained in our society and educations about the morality and ethics. And that is what action is all about. Whatever actions that we're doing good, definitely our mind is calm, and that is what tranquility is all about. And they're all three interrelated. So you can see from the academic point of view, we already have a structural equations modeling or artificial intelligence structures, which picks up the messages from insight, action, morality, and tranquility as the independent processes, and all this the actual dynamics that we're exposing to, like Professor Smaratungga has demonstrated again. So everything is pretty similar: input, process, output. And so if we, what I have just explained, the spiritual processes is really nothing but what I have just explained is the wisdom, sila, which is the morality, and the samadhi, which you not only need to gain samadhi through right concentrations, but most importantly is every single presence moment, right mindfulness, with the continuous efforts to eliminate all these positive, all this negative, and ensuring all the positive things are continuing to be cultivated and developed. And that would be strengthened through our sports bright state of mind: loving kindness, compassion, sympathetic, joys, and equanimity. The key thing is that if we continues to do that, eventually the spiritual processes will eliminate our delusions and reduces our greed and transforms our hatred into positive loving kindness, and eventually no attachment even to the loving kindness. And that is exactly places of nirvana, and sufferings comes into the zero. And what I would like to stress upon is that every moment, because my topic today, it's really about artificial intelligence, which I have been publishing a couple of papers in Scopus, and which is really about preparing for consciousness in the artificial intelligence. Now, if you look into it, carefully, each of the moments, whether it's in delusions or greed or hatred, it creates certain types of consciousness. It's and our consciousness will continue to bring us to exposed to delusions or exposed to greed and exposed to hatred. But when we make the spiritual efforts into a maturity stage until we reach nearly the understandings, the nirvana nature, or the Four Noble Truth, eventually our consciousness will be transcending, will be transforming into a consciousness where it's just like a mirror. So it is like a sunyata, which is the void or emptiness. It is not empty in the sense of reality, but it is empty in the sense that we have become. We are not attaching to any of the reality, and the consciousness just simply purely becomes a great perfect mirror, acknowledging and mindfully acknowledging all this issue. And that is what we hope we can do about it. So mindfulness is really the guidance which is part of these somatic processes that, and if we continues to get in touch with, get engaged with these somatic practices, eventually we will generate a good positive soil, which is the karma, and it will definitely provide, produce the flowers and fruits until reaching the end of the supramundane nirvana. So spirituality, as you can see, it's spirituality has definitely has very intimate connections with ethics and morality. Spirituality is we can demonstrate that if we build ethics, morality, and spiritualities in parallel with some things we commonly understand, and it has been with us that generate the karmic forces and karmic field is the mind, bodies, and heart. If you put these two into parallel analogy, it will be not difficult to understand that spirituality probably is the science of the heart. Again, bear in mind that there are slight there are subtle differences in understanding for what exactly is heart and mind, and it could be the same thing in citta, which is what the Buddhists has known about it, and also the Indians we know. And so spirituality, again, without getting into the detail, it's about the spirituality is about the science of the heart, and ethic is about rationalization. Morality has always comes with us. The virtues, the moralities of doing goodness and things has always been there with us. So I was kind of paralleling moralities and bodies and ethics, which is a rationalizations, that is why people understand ethics as the philosophy, and so it's a mind rationalization. But again, spiritualities and the ethics and the mind's spirituality is really transcending the rationalizations, which is really getting into understanding the reality through the mind, and which is these anattas. But again, we are not going to get into the detail. And so I'm just laying the groundwork so you understand why spirituality is very important, and consciousness is very important. And that is, consciousness is where we pick up the messages from the audience, from the environment. And that is where artificial intelligence comes about. And that is how we become smart. If we can, of course, we can understand our own consciousness, but again, we can also exploit devices, Internet of Things and devices to help us understand these conscious things. So without spiritual practices, we will be engaging in a continuous cycles of suffering, where we will not be able to understand exactly what's happening, because artificial intelligence again is helping us understand something better than what we have without it. And so with the ignorance, we will therefore generate actions that are delusions in as a base, and that again, whatever we act, consciousness comes about it. So that is what consciousness is all about. It of course, the machine generate consciousness through devices like Internet of Things, but we human being has the consciousness in a way that always arises because of the action. But again, the basis of the actions is the places where we have to watch out for, because it governs all the forces of the consciousness. Whatever consciousness comes into the picture, the reactions comes into the picture, such as our feeling, craving, and so on and so forth. But if we have spiritual practices, eventually, as I have just explained, until the consciousness becomes very pure and it becomes a great perfect mirror. And then, so therefore, with spiritual practices, eventually no consciousness or no seed, no mundane consciousness is able to land on any karmic, in any karmic field. So consciousness is very important. But again, if we do that until the end of the day, until the end of the journey, no seeds consciousness to land. So again, spirituality is a process which takes in the input, the reality, which is very important, because what artificial intelligence is all about is to understand the reality. And so without and for human being, without the reality, we can't understand spirituality, because spirituality, it's not about transcending reality, it's coming from within the reality. And so by understanding the reality, which is the stimulus, we will be able to get into the process of the spirituality, and this is reality. Reality keep facing challenging us, and if we have a good spirituality, eventually we'll know what is going on in our citta state or in our citta, in our mind, and therefore we respond accordingly. So it is a process that eventually will generate the excellence output. So the goal is to train our mind to face up to the reality, and using consciousness or trained consciousness, which is mindfulness. And eventually we will have a good mind and a good chitta, no hatred, no delusions, and no greed. And that is what consciousness is getting purified with the Vinyan, which is part of the chitta as well. If you get into majority of the research in spirituality theme, you will find that most are dealing with all these applications like mental health, depressions, or spiritual case in hospitals and nurses, nursings, and also maybe in the work areas like workplace spiritualities and managements, and all these are typical spirituality domains in the literature review. So although extensive research effort has been put in the literatures, in the spirituality theme, we see a gap of spirituality development and application to solve real world problems using consciousness in relationship to artificial intelligence and IoT, and that is what my sharing with you today. So why consciousness purification is very important, as I have seen already, because consciousness is the seed that will grow if we plant it in the soil of karma and waters by whatever the opportunities coming into our stimulation. So the stimulation intercepted by our senses. The reality is all the realities are intercepted by our senses. And we have the sense channels, and then it comes along with the consciousness, and that is how we react to this stimulus and generate a whole series of organisms. If those academicians are any academician in sociology, psychology, philosophies, or the engineerings, or consumer behaviors planning, marketing, we will know about the SRL model. So hopefully giving you this Western world of understandings will give you a better pictures on how important or how valuable Buddhist philosophy is. So stimulus intercepted by the sense channels plus the consciousness, which is like IoTs, Internet of Things and devices and things like that. It would generate affections, perception, mental activity. Again, robots, artificial intelligence robotics has not reached a point that are very, very capable of understanding the affections and perceptions of people. But again, they are coming into that point that robots has feeling and capable of doing that. With that, organisms, we come to a series of responses, whether it is physical responses or speech responses. And again, all these are activities. With the activity, it again generates the consciousness, and the cycles go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth until it have no ending. So again, if you look into the Karl Popper's philosophy, Karl Popper's world, we have the three types